It's time for Community Matters, a service of TCB Broadcasting, and it's sponsored by Vidalia Federal in Lyons and Vidalia, Todd Paget Housing Center in Claxton. Now let's see what's happening in our community with host Tony Doc Wardlaw.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to this edition of Community Matters. I'm your host, the Doc, Tony Wardlaw, and we are here on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Oh, what a beautiful day this is. I pray that you are doing well. The Doc is doing good. And as promised, we have another beautiful show for you on today. We have in the studio with us one of those hidden treasures in our community. And as you will see as we talk to her, an adamant part of our community. And without any further delay, I want you to know that we have in the studio with us the one and the only, the beautiful and the illustrious Miss Alexis Smothers.
Hello.
How
Thank
you
you
doing
for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Well, Miss Smothers, you came a few weeks ago, and you blessed the Lions Club with a great presentation. And I said to myself then, this is someone that we need all of our community to know about because you have some valuable information for all of us. And so contacted your organization and you agreed to come, and thank you for being in the studio today.
Oh, happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, to all of our listeners out there, Miss Alexis Smothers is a dietitian.
Yes.
And she is a certified, DCES. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so Certified Diabetes Care and Education Specialist. It's kind of the long version of saying a Certified Diabetes Educator. That's what we used to be.
Okay, excellent. Well, she's a professional at what she does. And can you just kind of go into some details for all of our listeners so that they will, because that's a mouthful, right?
Yes.
So just just break it down and tell us what it is you do.
Yeah, so with my dietitian part is really like the nutrition and teaching people how to eat right and based off of kind of health conditions, just to keep them well. And then the Certified Diabetes Care and Education Specialist is specific for diabetes management. And so it used to be diabetes educator, so it was really about the education part, but then we stuck in that care specialist as well, because it's more than just education. There's a whole lot that goes into diabetes management beyond the education piece, so it just really encompassed all that we do. Wow.
Well, we're going to get into what all of that is, and we'll kind of talk to our listeners and give them some good helpful hints on their diet and various things that they can do to maintain their health. But before we do that, I just want people to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
You're not new to the community, are you?
March of last year, so we're almost 1 year now.
1 year.
Yeah.
All right. And there's actually another person who's integral part of our community who's also here with you, right?
Yes, that would be my husband, Coach Smothers. He's the defensive coordinator at Toombs County.
And they've been doing a great job.
Oh, yeah.
And we're looking for some, yes, it was a blessed year, and we're looking for some even bigger things in the future.
Oh, yeah. Very excited for this season.
So the two of you are here. Where are you coming from? From what part of the country are you moving from, and how have you liked it here in the community so far?
Yeah, so we came from Central Florida, so it's nice to come here and kind of slow down a little bit and enjoy the country and just enjoy the community. That's really not something that we had in Florida, so it's really nice to be a part of this amazing community.
See there.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, listeners? This amazing community. You've heard me say this all the time, that this is, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, this is one of the greatest communities in the whole world. So we're happy to have you all with us. Now, the two of you did not come alone, did you?
No, we actually brought all three of our children. We liked them enough to bring them along.
That's right.
We have a daughter named Kobe,
excellent,
a son named Tilson, and a little baby named Gerald.
Wow. Can you give us their ages?
8, 5, and 1.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. And welcome to the community.
Thank
I'm sure
you.
So many people have welcomed you all, but we're excited to have you as a part of this community. And welcome to Community Matters.
Yeah, very blessed to be here.
Yeah. All right, so you're Smothers Diabetes Coaching. Now, this is an initiative of which you have begun. And can you tell us what the platform is and what your expectations are?
Yeah, so right now it's just a Facebook group. Just trying to create a community of people with diabetes, or support people with diabetes. So even if you don't have diabetes, happy to have you as part of the community. So like I said, it's a Facebook group for now. I'm kind of going to see where it goes. Hit with the coaching part. So diabetes coaching, like the goal would be to get to a point where I'm coaching people, maybe individually, maybe in a group setting. Just kind of seeing what the community is looking for and what the community needs right now.
Wow. Now, is this a virtual format, or do you have in-person meetings? How does it work?
Right now it's all virtual. We'll see where it goes. Maybe if the community has a nice place for us to have group settings, maybe there's some place that we can talk about that. But at this point, it's just connecting, and we'll see where it goes.
Oh, wow. Outstanding. So, Miss Alexis, what brought this about? I mean, we know that you are a dietitian, but for you to kind of step up and open this forum up and build this community, how did that come about?
Yeah, so I'm just really, really passionate about diabetes management. And I've been working in the virtual setting for a while, and I've connected with a few people here in the community who have said, oh, I really need to talk with you, or I don't want to drive all the way to Savannah to get diabetes education. So I kind of noticed that there was a little bit of a hole, and there is a place for diabetes education here in the community. So that's kind of how I got started, of saying, you know what, let's see what this community needs, and maybe even wider than the community too.
Oh, wow. So did you start the initiative once you got here, or is this something that you're bringing from Central Florida?
No, this is brand new.
Wow. And the reason why I ask that is because, so often on the show, I talk to our listeners about this, just people in our community seeing a need and then stepping up and providing an outlet to meet that need. And it looks like that's exactly what you've done.
I hope to, because people with diabetes, you get that support, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah. And, it used to be where you would have diabetes and it was, I'm going to show my countryside right here. It was, I wanted to say a rough road to hoe, so to speak.
Right.
All of those persons from the country, they know what I'm talking about. But in other words, it was really tough. Not having all of the information that you needed to help overcome the various challenges and keep yourself really healthy in the process. It was almost an impending, troublesome life, but that's not the case anymore.
No, you can live a very normal, healthful life with diabetes. It's really just getting the information to know how to manage diabetes, and then having a really good relationship with your doctor, kind of that give and take, because that medication management is very important as well.
Okay, so you are a dietitian, which means you have gone to school for this and been trained in this. Now, what does it take in order to become a dietitian?
Yeah, so it's a 4-year college degree, and then after that you have to go through an internship, which you don't get paid for.
Oh, wow.
And so you work for free for, about a year, is what it is. And now actually they're actually making it even more difficult to become a dietitian, where you have to have a master's degree.
Oh, wow.
So I'm happy to be grandfathered in on that.
I was going to say, were you grandfathered in?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Wow, outstanding. So do you work for yourself, or do you work with a company?
Right now I'm actually working for a company where I'm doing travel and actually driving to Tifton a few times a week. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Outstanding. But you are here enough. So do you commute back and forth, or how does that work?
For now, it's really just a temporary job. So in April, I will switch over to working virtual again, and so I'll be here again.
Okay. So as a dietitian, you work hand in hand with, I guess, the medical profession, or professionals, doctors and nurses and so forth, in helping to build people's eating regimes or regimens, or how does that work?
Yes. So Typically what will happen is that, you'll go to the doctor, you may get a diagnosis, or, the doctor may say, hey, if we don't make changes, this might be where you go. And at that time, it's appropriate for the doctor to say, hey, let's go lifestyle change. Let's go meet with a dietitian and see what you can do to make some adjustments to what you're doing day to day when it comes to nutrition. And we talk a little bit about exercise as well and stress management, and just see what happens, see if you can get either on the other side of it or have it healthfully managed.
Okay. So I guess as I'm trying to paint the picture here, a person would go to a doctor, they would get a diagnosis of, you've been diagnosed with diabetes.
Yes.
And it's my understanding that you could have type 1 or type 2. Are there any other types of diabetes?
There are, actually. There's a couple others, MODY and LADA, which are just variations of how diabetes develops.
Okay. And then from there, they would refer or recommend you to a dietitian.
Yes.
And then you would come in and work alongside them in building the kind of plan that they need, diet and exercise.
Yes.
Are there any other components of which you would add to that?
Yeah, also the stress management piece of it. Really just making sure that you have the skills for stress management, because stress really impacts, with diabetes specifically, I mean, your blood sugar can go high just from having stress.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, and then from there, you'd work with them, put those plans in place, and then you really help people build a plan so that they can live,
yes,
still good lives.
Yes, and partner with them, really, of like walking side by side to really help and empower you to make the nutrition choices that can help you to feel your best.
Oh man, outstanding, outstanding. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with Miss Alexis Smothers. Miss Smothers is here in our community. She's an adamant part of our community, and she has a virtual forum called Smothers Diabetes Coaching. And can they only access this through Facebook, or are there other social media outlets?
Now, right now it's just Facebook, but definitely hoping to expand.
Okay. Do you have any time frame in the future as to when that would be?
Honestly, I haven't thought that big yet. I'm ready to think that big, but I haven't thought that big yet.
Because right now you're a one-woman show.
Yes.
Wow. Now that is just, it's commendable. And I'm talking about this, and you hear me saying, wow, because you have 3 small children and a husband, and you take time out of your schedule to actually offer an online forum to help other people.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
That's how much I love it.
Outstanding. Well, we appreciate it, and we're so thankful. Now, can you tell the listeners how they can access or even sign up to be a part of the forum or the group?
Yeah, so you'll just go to Facebook, go to the search bar, and just put in Smothers Diabetes Coaching. It'll pop up, and you just request to join the group, and then start plugging in, start messaging, start commenting, start being a part of it.
Yeah, and for those of you who are wondering if it's worth it, yours truly, the doc, has I submitted a request to be a part of the forum. I have signed up. I've begun to get the various correspondence. I have not really joined in, formally in asking any questions or anything, but just the information I've been able to review, and already I can see the benefits of it. My wife is diabetic, and so we're going to get into, after the break, we're going to get into how my wife being diabetic, how it can affect me and my need to be aware and actually kind of assimilate to some of the things that she's doing. So I don't want to kind of put the cart before the horse, or even do any spoiler alerts right now, but that is important, and we'll find that out as we continue to talk with Ms. Smothers. But please go out to Facebook and go ahead and search for Smothers Diabetes Coaching.
Yes, sir.
And they can submit a request to be a part of the forum.
Yes.
And then you can accept them, and then they will be a part of the part of the group.
That easy.
Wow. Now, how often do you put information out?
A couple times a week, 2-3 times a week.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, what I want to do is we're going to take a quick break, and after the break, we want to come back, and we're going to give some free advice.
There we go.
Yeah, that's a word we like on this show, free.
Yeah.
And so, listen, go ahead and grab some people, make some phone calls and say they need to get on the line right now and listen, because we're going to have Miss Smothers go through and give some insight as to how we can put some things in place to really help us, if anyone who is suffering from diabetes, or if you know someone or you're living with someone. So this is going to be some priceless information that's going to come up. So I'm challenging you now to go ahead and set things aside and get ready to hear what she has to offer. All right, we'll be right back right after these messages.
Smarter, not harder. Here at Vidalia Federal, we are all about that phrase as we strive to make your life easier. No more drowning in paperwork or being interrogated over the idea of buying a house. Getting a home loan should be an enjoyable, simple process, not a daunting task. This is Julia McKenzie with Vidalia Federal Savings Bank, and I am here to make the mortgage process easy and simple. Come see me at the Vidalia branch on Jackson Street to talk about your next home purchase or refinance. I look forward to serving you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Celebrate good times. Come on. Happy New Year, South Georgia. This is Anthony J. with Todd Paget Housing Center, inviting you to come celebrate with us on our huge home inventory. That's right. We have a home for every budget with our wide selection of houses. So don't settle for a home from another dealership because they don't have a large selection to choose from. Come celebrate picking out your dream home at Todd Paget Housing Center, and let's have a good time. Come on. Todd Paget Housing Center, setting a new standard in the manufactured home industry this year and every year.
Southeastern Business Solutions back up running, everybody. We have the full experience set up and ready for you. Swing by SoutheasternBusinessSolutions.com, read about it, hear about it, watch about it, experience it, and then send us a text, SEBS, to 912-423-2761. I am so ready to work with you guys. I have missed you. Give me a call.
Welcome back to this edition of Community Matters. I'm your host, the Doc, and we are here on another beautiful Wednesday morning. And ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with the one and the only, the illustrious Miss Alexis Smothers. Miss Alexis Smothers is a dietitian, and she is 1 year in our community. Her husband is Coach, what's his first name? Jeffrey Smothers, who is our defensive coordinator for the Toombs County Bulldogs, and had a great season this year. Took us into the playoffs and did fairly well.
Yes, deep into those playoffs.
Yeah, and from all accounts, it looks like we should be able to do the same thing on next year.
A lot to be excited about.
Not win the whole thing. So, anyway, we are blessed with Miss Alexis Smothers in the studio, and as a dietitian, she has taken it upon herself to build a help community for those persons who are suffering with diabetes and who have been diagnosed with diabetes. And the name of that forum is Smothers Diabetes Coaching, and you can go to Facebook and you can send a request to become a part of that forum, and she will include you and accept your request, and then you will be able to receive free information as a part of that community. And so, as promised, after the break, here we are, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Miss Alexis, and I want you to kind of give some information to our listeners, things that they can do to really help them, and give some insight as to how they can live healthy lives, even though they might have been diagnosed with diabetes.
Right. And that's really what the group is all about. It's about empowering people with diabetes to make the choices that make them feel the best. And so that's really what these points that we're going to talk about today really are, is about how to feel your best with diabetes.
Okay.
Because when your blood sugars run high, you really don't feel good. Now, if they run high or if they run low, it feels awful. And you don't even know how bad you feel until you get those blood sugars into your goal range. And so I've got 4 points that I really want to talk about of how to manage diabetes and how to have the skills to manage diabetes. And so the first one really is that nutrition part, and so that's my favorite, being a dietitian.
Oh, you always got to talk about our food, don't you? Don't you know that we're Southerners? We like sweet tea, fried foods.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we love.
Oh, yeah. And with diabetes, you can still have those things.
Okay.
It's really just how often and what you pair it with that really makes a difference, right?
All right.
The sweet tea might be a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Just because those liquid carbs, they really impact the blood sugar.
Wow.
But switching over to the artificial sweeteners can make a big change to the blood sugar management.
Immediately.
Yes, immediately. Right. Very, very big impact. I've had tons of people that have really lowered their A1C just by stopping sweetened beverages like sodas and sweet tea.
Oh, wow.
Makes a big difference.
So we're going with water and unsweet tea.
Or the artificial sweeteners from time to time, just to change it up a little bit.
Excellent.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, what else about our diets?
So it's really the carbohydrates that really impact the blood sugar, that make the blood sugar increase, right? The fats and the proteins can increase the blood sugar, but not the same way that carbs do. So that's really why we pay attention to those.
Yeah, when you were at the Lions Club, and he'll appreciate this, Pastor Christian Burton, who is the president of the Lions Club, he had a plate full of French fries, and you were telling him, like, those fries right there, you can't have all of those. You just need to eat half.
Well, he was teasing me about my French fries first.
Right.
And so I said, I'm not going to eat them all. I'm only have half, right?
Okay.
And that's it. It's about finding that right portion size for you, right?
Oh,
and
excellent.
listening to those fullness feelings.
There you go. Okay. Excellent.
Right.
So the carbs, we need to be
Yes.
concerned about it. Can you give us some examples other than French fries
Yeah.
of what kind of foods are high carbs?
Yeah, so there's, the traditional white foods is kind of what people throw out there first, which isn't 100% accurate, but kind of gives you a good place to start. So,
Okay.
Grains, breads, rices, cereals, pastas, those kinds of things have carbohydrates. Fruits, so whether they're juiced or frozen or canned or fresh, all of them have carbohydrates.
Oh, wow.
Starchy vegetables like potatoes, corn, and green peas, winter squashes. There's quite a little bit of a list here, but that's because carbohydrates are the number one fuel source for our body, and so they have to be accessible and they have to be easy to get so that you can run away from a bear if you have to.
That's right. I definitely want to be able to do that.
Right, exactly. And so again, sweets and those kinds of things also will have carbohydrates.
Okay. So we want to limit the carbs.
Limit the carbs. Not avoid them or eliminate them, just limit them.
Limit them. Okay. If anyone is wondering about how much it should be, do you have a scale of how we should look at carbs on a daily basis?
So I don't know if you remember back in the 90s, we had something called the food guide pyramid. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of it.
That? Well, they got rid of that, thank goodness, because it's not really easy to use. And they have something called My Plate. Have you seen that?
No, I have not seen that.
So basically, it shows you what a balanced eating pattern would look like. It's just like on a plate. And so half of the plate is fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
A fourth would be like the carbohydrates, like the rices and cereals and pastas and those kinds of things. And then a fourth would be like your protein choices.
Oh, wow. Excellent. So that's called My Plate.
It's called My Plate. And so I think it's myplate.gov is where you can find the information that the government puts out about it.
See there.
Yeah, and so it's an easy way to kind of apply for diabetes. It's instead of making it fruits and vegetables on that one side, you just make that your non-starchy vegetables. So basically anything other than potatoes and corns and green peas that we talked about earlier. And then that 1/4 would be the carbohydrates, and then the 1/4 would be your proteins.
See there, I told you we'd be getting some valuable information, and you are not letting us down.
Oh, good.
All right, so that covers our carbs. what's next?
Yes, and then the next would be monitoring. And so when you were just asking me about the right amount of carbohydrates, that's kind of a starter point.
Okay.
But if you have access to a monitor, a blood sugar monitor, you can actually figure out what the right amount of carbs is for you based off of what your monitor tells you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you'd monitor before you have your meal, and then 2 hours after your first bite of the meal. If it goes over 50 points from where it started, then you know maybe you had too many carbs.
Yeah, back off.
And you should back up a little bit.
So when you talk about the monitors, is that like the finger sticks?
Yes,
And
the finger sticks.
what is this? The new things that they have?
Oh,
the
yes.
Libres?
Yes,
or is
the
that what they're
continuous
called?
glucose monitors. Yeah, there's the two biggest brands are the Libre and the Dexcom. If you can get one of those are the best things ever.
Oh, wow. Now, how do they work in comparison to the finger sticks?
Right. So the finger sticks, you have the little needle and you have to poke your finger and it draws up the blood and it monitors it. So with the continuous glucose monitor, it's you have to use a needle to insert it, but then after that, there's no more needles. So you do one needle for 14 days.
Yeah.
And so there's a little tube that goes underneath of your skin and actually pulls out the interstitial fluid, so the fluid between your cells, and monitors your blood sugar.
What is that fluid again?
Interstitial fluid.
Okay, we'll leave that to you. Okay.
All right.
All right. So is one more accurate than the other?
So the blood sugar is going to actually be like where you actually take it from the finger. That's going to be more real time. So it's going to give you the information a little bit faster.
Got it.
Than the continuous glucose monitor. But they're fairly accurate either way.
Okay. Because I know, like, for some of our listeners, they may be like, you know what, I'm not trying anything new.
Right.
This thing here has been working. It reads it real time, and this new stuff, it'll have me where my blood sugar's too high or too low. I don't know if I can trust this technology.
Yes. Well, I can definitely understand the resistance. I mean, it's hard to try new things, and it does take a lot of technology. But the amount of information that you have at your fingertips with a continuous glucose monitor is game-changing. Like,
No pun intended.
Yes. I mean, your blood sugar 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 14 days with the Libre, and the Dexcom is 10 days.
And the thing about these this new technology is it will alert you in real time.
Yes.
Like, hey, it's time for you to eat, or hey, you know what, you need to back off.
Yeah, even before that, it tells you where you're trending. So it tells you if you're on your way up or if you're on your way down.
Okay, and that's in real time.
Real time.
So you're not wondering if you see some French fries. You're not wondering, if I eat that, what is it going to do to me? You can, those French fries are going to keep coming back. You can look and say, okay, where am I right now? You can test your blood sugar level, and you'll be able to say, okay, well, I can have a couple of these.
Right, and the finger sticks, I mean, we were talking, like, you have to monitor before, so you have to remember to monitor before, and then you have to remember to monitor after, and that can, 2 hours after you eat, you don't always think about monitoring your blood sugar, and so the continuous glucose monitor, you don't have to remember. You can look back 3 days from now.
And you're not getting kickbacks from any of these
No, I'm not.
So you are being, you are literally giving us information to help us.
Yes.
All right. Just wanted to put that out there in case somebody says, oh, well, she's trying to make us buy this so she can
stock.
boost up her. All right. What else we need to? Oh, the old E word.
Yes. Next we'll talk about exercise.
The dreaded E word. Oh, my God.
Why does everybody
There's
feel
no
that
getting
way?
around the exercise, is it?
No, and it doesn't have to be the traditional, like, sweating to the oldies, Richard Simmons kind of thing, right? It can be just walking. It can be just cleaning the house, moving around. It doesn't have to be anything excessive.
It's getting up and getting out and enjoying this beautiful weather that we have.
Exactly.
We've got lots of things going on in our community.
Right.
We have 2 great parks in Lyons and parks in Vidalia and surrounding counties, Mount Vernon, Hazelhurst, Baxley.
Right.
Just get out and go walk and just enjoy God's beautiful country, our beautiful community.
Right, and just jumping up and down for the Bulldogs.
This
fall.
Let's see, you are, even though you're from Central Florida, you got it right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about these Bulldogs.
I'm talking about our Bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
But,
you're not talking about Georgia Bulldogs?
No, I'm a Louisville fan.
Okay. You're
Go
Louisville.
Cards.
All right. Well, I thought you had you, but you know what? Good enough for these bulldogs.
Right.
We'll take that.
Right.
All right, excellent, excellent. Okay, anything else in terms of exercise?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just getting out and moving. I mean, the CDC does have recommendations for, you know, your standard exercise. And so it is 150 minutes of physical activity per
There you
week, 2 to 3 days of resistance training, and 2 to 3 days of flexibility training.
Excellent, excellent. And that 150 minutes, right?
Yes.
That is like walking or
Yes.
just like 30 minutes a day, 5
Right.
days a week.
Right. It's
Okay.
easy as that.
Wow. Excellent. Okay. And then there's the last thing, and that is the medications once you've gotten to that stage.
Right, right. So there's a lot of resistance when it comes to medications. We all want to kind of make those lifestyle changes, and you should, right? Like start there.
Yeah.
But if you are having trouble getting the blood sugar down, medications are a great way to really enhance what you're doing already. Unfortunately, diabetes is one of those things that the body doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and it's progressive, and so sometimes it requires medication, and that's perfectly okay, and you've done nothing wrong if you need it.
Wow. And you know, as you're talking about that, Alexis, I'm hearing in my background that commercial, oh, Ozempic, you know.
Yes.
So the Ozempic commercials, what other medicines are there?
So the Ozempic is one of they're kind of the popular ones right now, those GLP-1s, because a lot of people have found that they can lose weight with those medications. So those are the injectables. Typically, they're about once a week.
Okay.
But there's lots of medications that come in pill form as well. Everyone, I think, will probably be pretty familiar with metformin.
Metformin.
Yeah, it's a very popular one. It's very effective medication. But there's others like glipizide, glimepiride, glyburide, which are called sulfonylureas.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those big words again.
Okay, we'll just take your word for it.
Right. And even more than that, there's the SGLT2 inhibitors. There's a ton of medications. And so if you don't tolerate metformin, because it does have some GI side effects,
Okay.
there's other options for you.
And GI stands for?
Gastrointestinal.
Okay.
Stomach
Look,
problems.
y'all can see that we have a professional. She's good at what she does. We've come a long way with this disease, haven't we?
Oh, yes. Just since I've been a diabetes educator, which has been about 6 years, I think now, the GLP-1s had just started when I started.
And you know, Miss Alexis, as you're talking, I mean, your passion for this it just exudes you. It is coming across, and we thank you for that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
We appreciate your passion and your diligence in trying to be there and build a forum to help persons who may be suffering from this disease. And just hearing you talk about it, it ought to put all of our minds at ease, and it makes it so much less stressful. You know, even for those of us who are married to someone who has diabetes, and we really need to make sure that we take precaution as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, actually research shows that if you have a spouse with diabetes, you're more likely to also be diagnosed with diabetes. So it is important. The other piece is of like the things that are recommended for diabetes. I mean, you don't have to do the monitoring, you don't have to do the medications maybe, but the exercise and the carbohydrate control is going to be beneficial to everybody.
That's right.
And so if everybody in the house kind of gets on the same boat, it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier for everybody.
Oh, outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Miss Alexis Smothers. She is a dietitian and very, very good at what she does. I won't dare try to announce some of those words that she said. You can go back and listen to it on our archives. If you want to watch this show and go back and review some of what Miss Alexis has talked about, you can do so on our website, tcbbroadcasting.com. That is tcbbroadcasting.com. We always thank Miss Dorothy Davis for her help in making sure that is there. We're also so thankful for our producer of the show, our general manager, Miss Robin Crabb. And thank you, Miss Smothers. Thank you for taking up your time and coming to share this with our listeners. And everyone, please go out to Facebook. If you're not on Facebook and you know someone, have them to go ahead and become a part of this community and get this free information. And who knows, we'll talk to some city officials and
There we go.
see what we can work out about having a forum. Let's just kind of stay in touch, and let's see if we can't bring that into fruition so that perhaps we have one of these help groups ever so often to be there to help people get through.
That would be awesome.
So thank you again, and go Dogs, right?
Yes.
All right, and I'm talking Toombs County Dogs.
Right.
All right, thank you all. God bless you. This has been another edition of Community Matters. I'm your host, the Doc, Tony Wardlaw, and I pray God's blessings over you this week and beyond. Come back again on next week, where we will be sure to have another great show for you. Again, take care, and everyone be blessed until the next time. Take care.
You've been listening to Community Matters with host Tony Doc Wardlaw, sponsored by Todd Paget Housing Center in Claxton and by Vidalia Federal in Lyons and Vidalia. Tune in again next week to see what is happening in our community on Community Matters, a service of TCB Broadcasting.